Chapter 159, I can hear him, but from where? By the time I climbed upstairs, what I saw was as expected, chaos. Run and hide. They got swords. Swords. No, we gotta escape, yeah dingus. It's now or never. The numerous prisoners in the courtyard were shoving over one another. I was caught up by the wave of feet and trampled. And splendidly at that. Very mob. Boof. Agagagaaa. Oh, this kind of reminds me of newscasts where they report people dying in mosh pits and such. Such. I wouldn't though. Ugh. Elg. Buffo. I was kicked around like a soccer ball and spat blood everywhere. And once the storm said, I lay there like a piece of driftwood. Driftwood? What? C said. What happened? Happened. While I was sated of my mobbly desires, Clara came and shook me awake. Ugh, my head. Oh, thank goodness you're alive. I'm so sorry, you got swept up again because of R. She propped me up against an unpopulated wall. Don't fret, I'll come back for you soon. For now, I have to complete my duty. She then stood up and turned her eyes towards the courtyard. She was watching the royalists, her people, holding weapons, and fighting the camp guards. Guards. Show no mercy. We're getting out of here. Move your feet, time is of the essence. Swinging their swords, they cut down their captors. And it wasn't only those of the royalist faction that were fighting there. Even the rabble, who didn't belong to any faction, were taking the opportunity to give the guards a piece of their fists. Fists. F.U.C.K. Where'd they get those weapons? Weapons. This isn't looking good, call in reinforcements. Clearly outnumbered, the guards were quickly losing ground. To the eye, it seemed that the royalists had the upper hand in this field. However, I was sensing a large number of people approaching from outside the walls. Most likely, reinforcements for the guards. Some of them were magi swords too. Magi swords are going to snuff out this riot instantly. Instantly. All the camp prisoners had mana sealing collars, after all. A magi sword against an ordinary civilian is like pitting an adult against a child. The child being the certain loser. Good. We're pushing them back. Now, let's get the owl and we can. And then, mere moments before they had overpowered the guards, the gates to the outside opened. Revealing armed reinforcements charged with suppressing them. Halt. Drop your weapons and surrender. Ha. Reinforcements. Why now? This is bad. We didn't expect them so soon. Soon. Yeah, I also felt like they got here a bit too fast. But now that it's happened, the tables were all but turned. No, we should have more time still. So why? Clara's face was that of frustration. Looks like she also didn't expect to be stopped at this point. In trained movements, the newly arrived guards encircled the premises. Weary innocent. The factionless who had been going with the flow, all gave up instantly. That's right, we weren't planning to. And they were so lively just minutes before. Anyway, only the royalists still looked like they had some fight in them. Their faces were grim one and all, but nevertheless kept a hold on their weapons. Final warning, drop your weapons, said a man who seemed to be the head guard. The royalists still wanted to fight, but they had no chance. Sorry, Sid. Clara whispered to me. Then she stood up, firmed her resolve, and stepped forward as the royalist leader. And it ended just like that, or so it should have. Making sure no one was watching, I made my own preparations. Preparations. Everyone, that's enough. Standing in front of her loyal retainers, Clara spoke. And that's when I, erasing my presence, used super speed and took on Shadow's voice. Seems the fight is over. Shadow's voice resounded from everywhere. Huh? What was that? Who's there? Show yourself. I can hear him, but from where? With my presence completely concealed, no one here should see me. Do you not have a duty to fulfill? This is exactly what I wanted to do. The moment when all hope seems lost, a voice from the shadows makes its entrance. What is going on? Is that the owl? No, that isn't owl. Just find him. He's got to be close. The rabble are going into a slow panic. Nice. Know that your sister still fights. So long as you don't falter, surely you will reunite. My sister? Wait, who are you? I replied with power in my voice. My name is Shadow. I lurk in the shadows, hunting the shadows. Your Shadow? The one who appeared at the G.O.D of War Festival. Shadow. The man said to have defeated Beatrix, that Shadow. There's no way. Why the H.E.L.L would Shadow be here? Shadow being here means, isn't Shadow Garden allied with the royals? Yes, hype it up. If you lack power, let me loosen your shackles. I said, launching the many pieces of slime I prepared underground, and breaking every single monosealer at once. The collar. But how, it's completely destroyed. So it's true, he really is Shadow. Why? No, this is our chance. Chance. As the hundreds of collars broke and fell, I said some final words. Struggle, fight. Grasp your fate with your own two hands. I then let off explosive mana, dyeing the courtyard a brilliant purple. Chapter 160, My Time to Shine? So began the counterattack. The men of the royalist faction surged up their mana and began attacking the guards. Guards. Triple tornado slash. They shouted out their special move names like the above. This one apparently required you to spin in the air 3 times before swiping down your sword. The whole thing looked extremely R.E.T.A.R.D.E.D, but that's what magi swords be. The guards weren't falling behind much either. Sway back spin, yelled another man, dodging a thrust from a guard. Right, good dodge, I'll give you that. But do you have to keep spinning like a ballerina? Both offense and defense seem to involve loss of dance and rhythm. I mean, sure, as an enterprising power in the shadows, I too put value in the performance, but too much is careless and unnecessary. B.U.T. Turfly step. Step. Death spiral. It seems shouting out the name each and every time is also part of it. Let's just say it's like the men, do, kotet. Hashtag in kendo. The type of strength I'm going for is completely different from what they consider strength, but actually witnessing it is sort of refreshing in a way. Way. Just goes to how that everyone has a different way they see fighting. As a matter of fact, even though it looks to me like they're messing around, they're all completely serious. But along with actually winning, they also try to present beauty in their sword. For them, true victory consists of also beating the opponent in style. They have mutual rules that both parties agreed to adhere to. So honestly, I shouldn't make fun of it too much. Anything goes in a fight, and might is right, that is my way. That is how I choose to fight. But that shouldn't mean I can just deny any other forms of fighting. It's been a long time since I had a chance to observe a style so different from my own. It's exciting. Go for it? Yeah, you too, enemy team. Nice. Now, a swift kick to the B.A.L.L.S. S. What are you doing spinning there? Go for the nuts? Arg. Fine, then stab the eyes, now's your chance. Stop spinning already, what the H.E.L.L man? Sink your teeth in, right in the jugular. Damn, he keeps spinning, fine, you do you. Hey. Maybe striking the crotch and eyes are forbidden or something. Can't you bend the rules a bit, and do it stylistically? This kind of reminds me of the martial arts tourneys I used to watch on New Year's TV. I was young and immature back then. Oh, it's almost the end of the year here too. As I was ruminating in my thoughts, the tide of battle had once again shifted in favor of the royalists. Royalists. Most of the guards are down. They aren't all severely injured but mostly exhausted of their stamina. With all that spinning, why am I not surprised? Surprised. Also, the Royalist guys aren't delivering any finishing blows to the downed enemies. What, is that supposed to be some kind of chivalry on their part? Like medieval knights, or Sengoku samurai? I don't really get it, but they seem to have a way of the blade dancer. Perhaps these blade dancers have developed a style of fighting much more civilized than the rest of the world. If all wars were fought this way, world peace might have been a lot less of a problem. I wouldn't like it though. I love the kind of world where pure and unadulterated violence beats all. What I was witnessing currently was frankly a bit too white dove for me. Okay, looks like it's over. Victory for Oriana. Now, you shall stand aside. dd.a.m.nu. We won, we really won. Clara sighed in relief. Yup, all's well that ends well. Wait, now that I think about it, I didn't get much time to shine. Ah well, it's just a concentration camp event. I'll be sure to get more chances once outside. Maybe. So while I was considering making a forced appearance anyway, one man made his move. This farce has gone on long enough. He, one of the Royalist guys, muttered and then suddenly cut down one of his allies. The middle-aged man who was slashed down his back collapsed to the ground. Ground. Bat? Stay with me, Bat. Clara screamed and ran over to the downed man. Gin. What? Why? She thundered at the man who cut one of their own. He was an obstacle for my goals. That goes for you too, milady. Gin, I don't understand. Then let me show you. He then pointed the tip of his sword at Clara's neck. I don't plan on giving my life for a clueless las.s like you. And no, Gin, you told me, you said that you believed in me. Well, I lied. You don't have the right to rule over others. Didn't you know? All your so-called subordinates laugh behind your back every time you look at their faces for confirmation. They call you the idiot yes girl. After listening to his jeers, Clara held her head down in shame. Right, I should come out sometime soon. Good work, Gin. Said the gray-haired man Maximilian. Chapter 161, The ringleader is here? Thick clouds had blocked the sun, and a light flurry had begun. I did it for my own purposes. Following you is at least better than listening to this foolish girl. Very well. I do not care either way, so long as you do as you're told. Told. I'm expecting to be well compensated once Lord Doem gains the country. That you will. Clara could only stare in mute shock as Gin and Maximilian casually conversed. She thought, if it was my sister, something like this would have never happened. If in her place it was Rose, as originally intended, they wouldn't have suffered so many cruel betrayals. Betrayals. Because her sister was strong, dependable, and so people believed in her. Her. Clara couldn't become like that no matter how much she tried. Because she wasn't strong, Gin had betrayed her. Because she wasn't strong, Bat was cut down. And now, they were at the end of their rope. It should have been her, not me. Wasn't that the root cause? She, a girl who knew nothing, couldn't have stood leading others. Her sister would have at least suspected Gin. Gin. Even she had heard talk that a traitor may be in their midst. But she couldn't even imagine that it'd be Gin, this man who'd served her family for so long. Thinking back, there were many points where he seemed to be scheming something, but she'd waved those thoughts away as imaginings. Her people had fought so hard, and they'd even gotten aid from Shadow. Yet, she still lost. Clara was already shedding tears. She felt horrible for the people who'd put their trust in her, she felt horrible for Bat. Do you see this, Al? Reveal yourself now. That is, if you care for the fate of this girl. Only Maximilian spoke in the courtyard, slowly filling with snow. The wind grew stronger and the snowfall increased along with it, creating a curtain of water. There is no one else to lead the royalists once this girl dies. After all her other bloodkin are gone. Blood, that's right, blood. Maximilian was right. Clara was only chosen for her royal blood, not because she was a good leader. Still, there were those who genuinely believed in her, and stayed with her. Clara wiped away her tears and looked at the cold ground where Bat lay. The blood that had spread out from under him colored the snow red as it fell. His back was slowly moving. He was still alive. She might still be able to save him. So, the fight, Clara's fight, wasn't over yet. I will wait 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Clara began thinking. What can she do? Something, anything, she just needed to find. 5, 4, 3. Clara looked around herself, and then she noticed something. Behind Maximilian stood a man of the Dom camp. The man who had warned her about the traitor among her people. He was looking at Clara, he was awaiting her order to strike. Clara nodded. Yes, there was still someone who believed in her. 2, 1. Maximilian stopped counting. What is the meaning of this? Zack was holding a knife at Maximilian's throat. See that gardener lion B.L.O.O.D.Y over there? That's my pops. Zack spoke with wrath wreathing his voice. Oh, so you were our traitor after all. Perhaps a survivor of the secret royal guard? I recall they were all executed. I'm still a trainee. A weakling then. I should have been more thorough, I suppose. I might be weak compared to you. You. But even us weaklings have ways to fight. Now, kindly let Her Highness free, boss. Zack had her knife at Maximilian's neck, which Gin had his sword at Clara's. I wonder, should I? Said Maximilian in a bored sigh. Chapter 162, Sigh, really didn't want to make a scene, man. I didn't quite plan on making a scene, quite frankly. Maximilian took in his surroundings with just moving his eyes. He saw Clara at Gin's mercy, bat bloodied and laying still, and of course, the knife at his own throat. Well, aren't you calm? I can slit your throat anytime I want, buddy. Cuckoo. I suppose you think you have the upper hand now. Sad to say, I don't quite see it like that. You ain't making sense. My only concern is how much of my power I should reveal to you lot. I'd sincerely wanted to end this maintaining the face of a minor villain. The face of a minor villain? Wait, so you're involved with them, the real evil lurking in the shadows. Shadows. Zack took a quick glance at the black-haired boy laying propped up a side wall. Ho. Zack, you seem to know something you shouldn't, how unfortunate. Unfortunate? Yes, indeed very unfortunate, since now I must kill everyone here. Dash what? Suddenly, Maximilian had vanished. Having lost sight of his mortal foe, Zack's knife was now stuck in thin air. The next instant, snow flurried upwards and blood rained down. Gah! Multiple bodies fell to the white ground, dyeing it red. Red. At the center of them stood Maximilian with a sinister smile. He flicked his sword to shed off the blood. Why you cut your own allies? Clara uttered in shock. The ones that Maximilian had cut down were indeed the guards and other member of the Doem camp. Indeed. They were closer as well as complacent. If I must kill everyone other than you, then the order matters not much. Maximilian said easily with a shrug of his shoulders. What, in the blazes? I'm on your SI. Yuri no exception, Gin. Gin's head flew. Warm blood spray hit Clara's face, and the sword at her own neck clattered to the ground. Ground. Slowly, Gin's headless body fell backwards. And no. Gin. Clara fell on her A.R.S.E trying to move away. Just when they were supposed to be at a standstill, the situation had changed instantly and dramatically. Prisoner and guard alike had been cut down without distinction, as if their lives held no value whatsoever. They'd fallen powerlessly all by the hand of one man. What kind of monster are you? Me a monster? Surely I'm but a simple criminal, put here as punishment for my crimes. Just your average prisoner. There's no way, you're no prisoner. Kukuku, whatever do you mean? Maximilian looked down gleefully at Clara. F.U.C.Kin.L. Your Highness, please run. Zack picked up the sword Gin had dropped. And without delay, he charged at Maximilian. I plan to leave you for last. Maximilian's form blurred, and Zack's blade struck only air. Then, gat. Zack was knocked off his feet. Blood sprayed from his back. Zack! Clara screamed. Zack fell on the snow in agony. Yes, I will kill you last. Writhe in agony and watch. I will now begin calling all your comrades. I will bring you royalists' true despair. Clara's retainers stood before her. Lady Clara, you must escape. Their trembling swords told all too well their fear. All of them knew they wouldn't survive Maximilian's slaughter. Right, suppose I shall take my time with this. Come out now, owl. The more you hide, so much more will they die. Come out if you wish to save them. If you can defeat me, that is. Maximilian looked over each of Clara's people one by one. Clara was shaking in the knees, desperate to escape. As for Zack, he, despite his carved back, was crawling along the snow. He sought only one thing. To go where he lay, at one corner of courtyard, the black-haired boy. Please. Even as blood dripped out from his mouth, Zack clawed the snow with trembling fingers so as to approach the boy. Please, you're our last hope. As for the boy, he was already half covered in snow. Just do something, whatever your goals are, just help us, for now. Finally, Zack reached where the boy lay. I'm begging ya, just save her hi. He swiped away the snow covering the boy. And saw. Only a lump of black slime taking his shape. A vast burst of mana shook the earth. Chapter 163, The Power of Diabolos. Violet mana tinted the blizzard sky. What monstrous mana! Maximilian grimaced, feeling the raw blast of mana. In the middle of the snowstorm, one man landed onto the ground before him. A man in a jet-black long coat. He wore a deep hood, and covered his face in a mask. My name is Shadow. I lurk in the shadows, hunting the shadows. A voice as if from the depths of the abyss. Your Shadow. Shadow Garden. Garden was a recognized threat to the Order. Order. An hidden organization that boldly opposed them. They had exposed the existence of the Order to the world. They couldn't be taken lightly. Even the combat potential of Shadow Garden rivaled that of the Order. Their leadership, known as the Seven, are rumored to house individuals of equal measure to a Knight of the Rounds. And within this shadowy organization, most mysterious of all was the man Shadow himself. Every member of the order said to have fought him had been eliminated, and the only places he'd been witnessed, to date, were at the G.O.Dis Challenge and the G.O.D of War Festival. His strength was measured at undefeatable. Maximilian suddenly recalled what Doem, who had witnessed Shadow first had said, "It's hard to believe that thing is even human. He's like Diabolos." Diabolos. No wonder he noticed our existence. Doem had rambled on like that one drunken evening. Maximilian had dismissed it as the alcohol talking. But now, after feeling that vast magic, he was starting to understand his colleague's fears. Your mana, it is certainly interesting, it far surpa.s.ses anything mere mortals can contain. And it is dense. Dense. Far denser than anything I've seen. Maximilian calmly scrutinized the mana that kept gushing out of the man like the blizzard was carrying it away. Indeed, you're as impressive as the rumors claim. Greetings, Shadow. Maximilian's lips curved upwards. Upwards. Shadow still stood there coated in violet mana. I welcome you to the kingdom of Oriana. Oriana. I do not know what your goals are in this land, but your luck has just run out. I am Maximilian Coldblood. I specialize in people boastful of their mana such as yourself. Yourself. As such, I shall dissect you thoroughly to find how exactly you hold so much. The next moment, Maximilian disappeared. The ground settled, snow surged upwards and a figure blurred into existence behind Shadow. Behind you, fool. Maximilian slashed Shadow clear down the back. He felt his sword strike. How? Shadow simply stood there, unfazed. Then, as if that attack had been an illusion, the man in black turned and faced Maximilian. Oh, were you doing something? Tisk, mana houses are always so painfully slow. Maximilian clicked his tongue and took distance. That coat must be an artifact. A good one too to have blocked my sword. I shall relieve you of it soon enough. Once again, Maximilian vanished. Over here. Maximilian was approaching from behind. But before that. Wrong way. Before Shadow could turn, Maximilian appeared from under him. Weakling. Maximilian's strikes came from all directions, and even from above, successively and without pause. Shadow couldn't even react as he was cut away at from every which way. Then finally, it is done. One last powerful blow sent Shadow to the ground. Shadow rolled on the snow before crashing on the camp wall. Wall. All artifacts have a limit to their endurance. Now your precious coat is finished. Maximilian moved his gaze from Shadow to something to the side. So you finally show yourself, Owl. Owl. At some point, a female form had been already standing where Shadow lay collapsed dressed in her pitch black bodysuit. It was Owl. Chapter 164, Where is he? How sad, Owl. You're all but too late. Kindly, shut up. Owl turned to Maximilian. You dare. Maximilian's tone raised in ferocity. You're of no concern now. Foolish. Shadow is finished, and the same fate awaits you next. You don't seem to realize that you've been played. Played. Lord Shadow, please allow me a question. Owl asked Shadow, who was buried rubble. Shadow answered after a pause. Violet Mana then blew away the debris, and Shadow slowly stood up. You. So you have that much power still. Maximilian was half in a panic, but in contrast, Owl was calmness itself. Sir, why do you not show your true power? I wish to fully judge the power of that man. For reference, as it were. For reference. I understand now. I have one more thing I must ask. Owl asked with a tinge of anger in her tone. Shadow nodded his A.S. What is the meaning of this? Owl blew the snow at her feet away with her sword. The powdery white pulled away to reveal a black form. This was the lump of slime that had taken the form of Sid Kajano. Please answer truthfully. Sid, where is Sid? Owl roared as if to overpower the howl of the blizzard around them. Her voice contained fierce resolve. Resolve. That voice. Clara stared at Owl as if to ascertain something. Something. Owl's attention was wholly towards Shadow, however. Shadow took a moment before answering. Sid is safe. But where is he? Must you know? Dash dash. Shadow and Owl stared at one another for some time. A silent tension rising between them. Then. You have saved my life, granted me power, and have shown me the path I must tread. I do not want to doubt you. So I shall trust those words. But. Owl paused her words to glare sharply at Shadow. If the words you said are false. If you put Sid in danger. I will not forgive you. Shadow gave Owl a sidelong glance. I do not need your forgiveness. Regardless of what you may learn or think of me, my path shall not waver. Owl narrowed her eyes to that. Now. I shall return to the fight. Shadow looked away from her, and silently drew his sword. I shall return to my mission as well. Owl approached Clara. Princess Clara. My charge is to deliver you to the Royalist base of operations. Operations. Owl, you. I heard say that our people had a secret plan. Is that your role in all this? I am not alone. We are currently aiding your faction. I had wanted to provide a proper explanation, but time is of the essence. Essence. Please follow me, this may be our last chance to leave the capital. Clara stared at the hand Owl had offered. Are you? No, never mind. Let us go, I will trust you. Your Highness, are you sure it's safe to trust her? Her retainers were agitated. Agitated? I am. After all, she should be much more. Clara's voice petered off on that line of thought. Please follow after me. We will be heading underground and meet allies en route. Owl hoisted Bat onto her back and headed for the camp gates. Halt. You will not pass me. Maximilian was about to charge at Owl, which was when a powerful bloodle.u.s.ta.s. sailed him to the core, halting him in place. What, this is unreal. Maximilian jumped from his spot in a panic. But can you pass me? This bloodle.u.s.t that seemed to cause tremors in the earth was of course that of Shadow. He had managed to arrest Maximilian to the spot with but a glare. Shadow. Maximilian glared back, rage building on his face. That was all he could do. He could only watch in spite as Owl left the premises together with the royalists. And once the last of them, Zack, was also leaving, the bloodle.u.s.t became even more fierce. Zack shivered and turned around. Shadow was looking at him. Zack was dripping in sweat and repeatedly nodded at the man in black. A silent conversation seemed to take place. Then, Zack left, ran away as fast as his feet could take him. Chapter 165, Demon Lord Unleashed. Is that your plan? To intimidate me? Foolish, you don't stand a chance. Maximilian braved the out-of-this-world bloodle.u.s.t and rushed at Shadow. His sword followed a straight path to the man at incredible speed. Its tip surely to pierce the throat. Throat. Yet. What? That tip was caught between Shadow's fingers. Let me bestow you some advice. Shadow spoke in a soft voice. Let go. Try as he might, Maximilian couldn't dislodge his sword from between the man's fingers. It was as if the blade was stuck into a boulder. It moved not, no matter how much he pushed and pulled. Show me all your power if you don't wish for a swift death. Shadow released the sword, causing Maximilian to pitch over and fall. He quickly stood up and glowered at Shadow. You will not underestimate me. He then pulled out a red lozenge and swallowed it. Now you'll pay for that attitude. I will have you know to spare. Maximilian's mana surged and his eyes were dyed blood red. Behold, it is your death that will be swift. Maximilian blurred. He was suddenly behind Shadow. An after image. A slash faster than sound cut shadow from behind. It wasn't able to cut through shadow's long code. Shadow turned around. Faster than that, Maximilian once again blurred. That to an after image. Yet again, Maximilian cut shadow from behind. As I thought, you have no means of reacting to my speed. Speed. Yes, that is inevitable. I am not your average awakened, I'll have you know. Seeing how slowly Shadow was turning back, Maximilian spoke. I am no 3RD, I am a 2ND. He sneered and blurred once again. Slow. You're too slow, Shadow. Now taste the power of a true second of the order. Maximilian's voice came from all directions. Relentlessly, he made slash after slash upon Shadow. His afterimages seemed to be everywhere as he did. This is my sword, the cold blood kaleidoscope. The myriad Maximilians in the fierce blizzard truly appeared as if he came out of a cold and deadly kaleidoscope. Soon enough, that artifact of yours will be exhausted. That will be your end. The endless slashes had numbered to more than 1,000 now. Shadow couldn't do a thing, he just stood there and took it. Each slash caused the snow to jump, turning everything white. And finally, it ended. Huff, huff, fool. Maximilian wrested control of his breathing. The ground around him was gouged. Gouged. Cold blood kaleidoscope tended to have that effect on the landscape. It was impossible to stay standing after a relentless onslaught like that. Maximilian was about to sheath his sword, when... What? Beyond the veil of snow, stood a form. As the uplifted snow slowly drifted back to the ground, the ident.I.tie of the form was made clear. It's not possible. That form was of course Shadow. Shadow was standing there, having withstood cold blood kaleidoscope without injury. Without a scratch on him, the man in black stood as if the fierce rush from just now was but an illusion. How are you uninjured after my cold blood kaleidoscope? This is impossible. No artifact like that could exist. Artifact? Might you be curious about this? Shadow said, indicating his garment. There's no other way. I am stronger than the likes of you. Just because you have that ridiculous artifact, don't think. Think. This is no artifact. It is made of slime. That is absurd. No slime can withstand what I did. Correct. By itself slime is very weak as material. However, what would happen if it were to be infused with mana of incredible proportions? Idiocy. Indeed, slimes are said to have high mana conductivity. However, handling it as material is impossible. The mana paths aren't even similar to that of a human's. All too true. In that case, what if we mix in human flesh? Combining a great number of slimes with one's own flesh. flesh. It is similar to attempting to mix oil and water. But it is possible to fuse them using mana. Impossible, you merged human mana paths with that of a monster. You would need an unimaginable level of control to achieve such a feat. Verily. To my knowledge, those in this world who can perform such a task is I and I alone. Why you lie? You lying scoundrel, do you think I will believe that? Oh. Even if I show you this. Shadow's long coat warped. Within the white blizzard, the jet black garment expanded to both sides like wings. Wings. No, they were wings. Jet black wings like that of the devil had manifested out of the coat. That isn't, no, that's not. Maximilian could think of only one material able to change shape so freely. And nothing else. Monster, you're no human, you monster. His expression warping, Maximilian rushed at Shadow. However, the blazing speed of his sword was easily stopped by the now transformed devil wings. Slow. And no, you can't react to my speed. Despair dyed Maximilian's face. The pair of wings had split into four. They flapped once, allowing Shadow to be lifted into the air. Maximilian was speechless. Know this. The quant.I.Ti of my mana is not so different from your own. Jet black wings flapped in the white blizzard sky. Well compressed, it only appears 100-fold more powerful when released. I simply do that whenever I use it, like so. Shadow gathered mana in his wings. The violet mana collected on the wings and appeared as small feathers. Hi. Monster, no, Demon Lord. Lord. Quality easily trumps quant.I.Ti when it concerns mana. Mana. And quality comes from control. To that end, the amount of control you can exert while you release, determines everything. Those feathers, were beautiful yet cruel as the devil himself. IAM. Atomic rain. As they fell on Maximilian, violet mana rain dwarfed the raging snowstorm. Its light enveloped Maximilian, erased the snow and swallowed up everything. As it fizzled out, having ended everything, only a large crater remained where the walled camp once stood. All was quiet for a time. Then, the jet black wings flapped, taking their bearer high into the snowy sky. Chapter 166, Mordred. Rose was quite familiar with the intricate underground escape tunnels under the capital. After all, she'd been taught how to navigate them if it ever came to it. However, these tunnels were not connected to the concentration camp, and so, the other members of her squad had patiently dug a hole nearby to connect to it. Rose, Clara, and several others were now walking along those tunnels, having jumped down the hole. Shadow would have ample strength to deal with Maximilian. Rose couldn't imagine Shadow losing to him. If there wasn't that issue considering Sid, she would have trusted him fully even. She might have even been in awe and respected Shadow for his strength alone. But Sid, was he truly in a safe place? It was worrying. But for now, she just had to trust that Shadow wasn't lying. She couldn't abandon her duty and go searching for Sid. Still, if Sid really was safe as Shadow claimed, it raised even more question. Why was that slime there? What reason did Shadow have to make a faux Sid? Rose didn't understand. Could it be Sid and Shadow were connected somehow? Rose thought back on her image of Sid. She couldn't see anything about him that would be related to Shadow. Before long, they had made it to the location where her squad members would be waiting. Small hole leading to the surface was the only source of light in these tunnels. There was a figure in black propped up against a wall. 664. 664. Rose let down bat from her back and slowly approached the figure. Where is 665? What? The woman in black who was sitting with her back to the wall was definitely her squad leader, 664. She was injured. Blood had drenched the wall behind her. 664? What happened here? Rose quickly crouched down to her. Unsaid 664 in a weak voice. She was breathing, at least. I'll help you right now. R-on, 666. And then, something came. From a direction where no one was supposed to be, one man suddenly came walking. What? He had practically no presence. Rose couldn't comprehend how he'd appeared as if from thin air. It was almost as if he was there all along. Seems Maximilian failed, said the man, looking at Clara and her troop. It was a cold voice. He was a tall man, with hair white as snow swept to the back of his head. He had a sort of chilling beauty to him. 665. Rose's cry echoed into the tunnels. The man was holding 665 in one hand. She was a disappointment too, he said as he threw down the beaten woman at Rose's feet. Rose quickly caught 665 as she fell and checked her breathing. Ugh. She was unconscious but breathing, yes. I'll make you pay. Stop, don't fight him, 666. "666. 664 cried out to her as she was drawing her sword. Why? You can't beat him, he is Mordred. Rose was aghast and stared at the man, who in turn gave her a curt bow. Am indeed Mordred. It is a pleasure. Princess Rose. Behind Rose, the people following Clara stirred. Rose asked Clara to lead them a safe distance away. You have the wrong person. I see, if that is how you want it, I shall comply. Rose glowered at Mordred, who in turn looked at her with a bemused expression. Shadow Garden, so the organization opposing us has come here too. Rather than the key of the Oriana, I personally find you bunch much more interesting. Key of Oriana. Did Shadow Garden not intervene in this war for the sake of obtaining the key? Oh, perhaps you didn't know. Rose didn't answer. She had become a member of Shadow Garden, but that didn't mean she knew everything. Shadow Garden was a large organization. Organization. The 7 who lead them all held unbelievable strength, and the special forces known as the Numbers all had strength equal or Serpa.S. Sing that of Rose. Rose was only a single cog in the machine. Still, this key of Oriana seemed to be something that could concern her personally. Would they fill her in on it if she asked? I will not reveal anything. We need to be somewhere. They had many injured. Mordred was clearly stronger than she could handle, but she could at least buy time for them. Rose drew her sword. Don't fight, leave me and go. Leader. Why yeah, I'm your squad leader, and that's an order. 664 weakly got to her feet and stood in front of Rose. Mordred observed the two with cold eyes. I am interested in Shadow Garden, as I've said. Much more so than the key. So you will block our path. As one of the order, I mustn't let you run free. But I believe letting you go now would be quite beneficial to me. Meaning. My interest in Shadow Garden is quite deep. I'm specifically interested in your leadership. "7. Mordred said with a cold grin. Yes, she was quite enjoyable indeed. Enjoyable. Yes. Yes, very. So much that I'm willing to let you go past me." Mordred retrieved something from his pocket. As he opened his palm, something drifted down from it. Bright like spring water, they were strands of hair. And Rose happened to know someone with such beautiful and strange hair. Wait. That clear spring water hair was that of Epsilon. She was, quite enjoyable cuckoo, Mordred chortled. Go on, PAS.S at your leisure. The Doem faction and royalists will clash soon enough. However, this is not your ordinary civil war. Mordred was beginning to shimmer into the background. Background. This is a proxy war between the Order and Shadow Garden. How fun. He disappeared, leaving only dry laughter. So that's Mordred. It will become an increasingly difficult battle with him around, Rose thought. Chapter 167, What were ideal powers in shadows in my mind? Mind. I pondered the question as I flew in the snowstorm with my slime wing. The battle between Maximilian and me was coming to an end. Concentration camp was destroyed in the shock from the explosion of the atomic bomb. A thought suddenly struck me. Was I right? Was I expecting such powers in the shadows? I recalled what powers in the shadows had done before. I was playing the role of the powers in the shadows I imagined. It should be like that. But, why? I felt that I was not satisfied with something. What was that on earth? Earth. At the same time, there was something going off the rails. No, was that because feeling dissatisfied had become my inertial thinking? I didn't know why. But what I only knew was that I had a strong sense of dissatisfaction. I wanted to be what kind of powers in the shadows before I reincarnated? Reincarnated? My mind traveled back to the past, and then I knew the reason. Whatever. If only I could be like powers in the shadows. Therefore, there was no clear image of powers in the shadows in my mind. Because the image of powers in the shadows I was expecting did not exist. I just behaved like powers in the shadows to a limited extent. Maybe that was why I felt dissatisfied. Is it okay to keep it? Sudden thought occurring to me, or a long existing thought. I didn't even know that. However, if I kept thinking about that, I couldn't enjoy being the powers in the shadows from the bottom of my heart. I have to do something. I organized my thoughts about what was the most important character of powers in the shadows. I took the simple, less complicated way to explore the nature of powers in the shadows. Shadows. Then I could get an answer. So I decided to become a passerby. Thought it's lucky that the situation in Oriana was still unstable. The thought came from a passerby who wasn't involved. Involved. What does powers in the shadows mean for a stranger? I had to do something to learn about it. Then I thought about it and kept one posture unchanged. Because I was thinking so, I didn't find that something was flying toward me and stuck on my face. Head. With the sound of bitta, something touched my face. I shook my head to get it off my face. A piece of paper, maybe it was blown by snowstorm. There was something written on it. I used my fingers to describe the words, trying to read the words soaked by snow on the paper. Young man. Fight for your country. Royalists are recruiting new soldiers. The job is simple, all you need to do is to kill our enemies. Even though you have no experience, you will be promoted rapidly with the help of your predecessors. You will get a valuable job, and there was someone promoted to captain in only 3 days. You can get a pay valuing to thousands of money. The dream of becoming a rich man will come true. Your future and your status is inestimable there. Join us, hero. Asterisk, your abilities will be tested, then we will assign you to the troops that will use your abilities to the greatest extent. Extent. I gripped the paper tightly and made a guts pose. This is what I need.